What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on a Thursday. We've almost made it to the weekend. It's not going to be as comfortable. We were just talking about that on News 6 tonight with Matt and Jamie Say filling in for Ginger tonight. It's going to be a little more humid, but it's not going to be a terrible weekend by any means. We're going to take a look at that coming up. We are coming at you live tonight at 9:30. We're here every Monday through Friday on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube channel. Thank you guys a ton for being here. Do me a favor. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, post in the comments where you're tuning in from. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions along the way, post those in the comments as well. We're going to hop into it as we take a live look tonight in Vero Beach above my head and then in Holiday, Florida, right below me in the box. So things are going all right in the tropics. Again, there's several things out there, but I'm happy to report that Gabby continues to struggle. We talked about this over the last couple of nights, and it's just a sign of the times that the tropics, the Atlantic, and the main development region, it just doesn't want to wake up. That's obviously a good thing, okay? And we're going to take a look at that. I'm just going to show you just how beat up Gabby looks tonight. Then getting into the weekend, again, I call it decent. It's going to be pretty good. I think most of us are dry this weekend, but it is going to be a little more humid. So certainly if you had enjoyed the very nice weather, the Florida fall-like weather across the board, that is something that is going to change as well as we move into the weekend. It's just a little more humid out there. All right, we're going to hop into the tropics first, and then we're going to do that again. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from. I see some in the chat that says there are no sound. If you can confirm that there is sound, please let me know. I think that there is sound. I'm getting all my levels over here, so let me know. There could be something wrong with the computer if that is in fact the case, but it looks like I am seeing some sound. So if you can post in the comments for me, that would be helpful as we get into talking about Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Woof. It is not that healthy tonight. It is finally getting some thunderstorms around its center all day long. There was no thunderstorm. It was what we call a naked swirl. You could see just a few cumulus clouds swirling around the center. Tonight, though, it actually is getting tonight it actually is getting a little more, at least thunderstorm activity around its center. But nonetheless, it's still a very weak tropical system moving 50 miles, not moving 50 miles an hour. That'd be booking. I think that would shatter every single record for a tropical storm if it was moving at 50 miles an hour. It's moving at west-northwest at 13 miles an hour, maximum sustained winds at about 15 miles an hour. Latest track on this is still the same. Again, this is not coming to Florida. This is not coming to the United States. This is likely even going to stay to the east of Bermuda. You do see here, though, for as terrible as it looks right now, the environment, I'm gonna show you the environment. We're gonna do like meteorology, tropical meteorology 101 here, coming up in just 1 second. But I want to show you the track first, and you do see that the Hurricane Center does have this now reaching Category 2 strength by the time we get into early next week, Sunday into Monday. So it's going to undergo a crazy chain of events. We'll see if that happens because, I mean, it was getting battered and beat up today, although certainly it's showing some signs of life right now because it is firing off some thunderstorms, which, again, it was not doing for the bulk of today and even early in the morning. So wild stuff. Okay, so here is the Meteorology 201. Let me I will play the loop, and where you see the center is about just smack dab under, not underneath just yet, but just south of that flare up of green that you see on your screen, okay? So that flare up of green, that's the thunderstorm activity. So this is the water vapor imagery. And where you have the green and white, that's where we have moisture in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. Those are our thunderstorms. Where it is brown and orange, that's where the air is dry. Okay, so it's fighting off some drier air, but you'll also notice, see that this almost looks like a cinnamon bun. You see that right there? Cinnamon bun kind of swirl there. Look closely in the middle of your screen. If you see this, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on clickorlando.com, you can post in the little chat box that pops up, or you can also dial up YouTube and then post in the comments or hit that thumbs up button. See that little swirl there? That is what we call an upper low. And not only is that introducing some decent wind shear on the thing to keep it tilted and keep it ugly and all that stuff, it's also helping to push that drier air right into Gabby's core. And these storms don't like dry air. They don't like the wind shear at all. And that's why Gabrielle, I keep calling her Gabby. It's like we're on a nickname basis. It's Gabrielle. But nonetheless, that is exactly what it's doing. And it's pushing that drier air into Gabrielle. And that's what we are getting at. Melissa sees it. She says it makes her hungry. I know. Now I want some sweets at this late hour. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome aboard. It's okay, Paul. I won't hold it against you, my friend. I appreciate you tuning in and joining as always. So there we go. Now, Eric just asked a question here. He said, do you think any storms are going to come to the U.S.? It seems like a very slow season. You are right about that. You are super right about that. Let me show you some of the numbers. I can't remember if we got to this last night or not. So I want to show this to you. This is a good segue into it. This is where we stand right now. We should be at this point, I think, 9 named storms and 3 hurricanes, and I think maybe 2 major hurricanes to date. So we're running behind schedule to date. We have 7 named storms. Gabrielle became the 7th. One of those becoming hurricanes. Gabrielle is forecast to become number 2. And then it's expected to stay below Cat 3, which starts major storm criteria. So in all likelihood, we're not going to add another one to that list. And I think it remains to be seen if we even get Gabrielle to hurricane strength. We'll see. It's getting beat up pretty good. We'll see if it actually, some models did drop out on it. So all of the above there. Now, the forecasts were for a slightly above average season. So the Hurricane Center and NOAA, they do a range. So 13 to 19. So they kind of went on the lower end of average and then had a range of above average, with 6 to 10 of those becoming hurricanes, 3 to 5 of those becoming major hurricanes. Okay. So yes, they were above average for sure. And Paul just brought up a good point. He says backloaded seasons are scary. And he has Michael highlighted there. Yeah, we don't like when the season is backloaded, because a backloaded season typically wants to favor the Eastern Gulf, because the storms develop in the Western Caribbean and around Central America, and then they get lifted up out of the Caribbean and then sent to the east in the west-east flow that is across the United States. So I want to show you a couple things in a couple of minutes. I have to hit my first break, and on the other side of this break, we'll also get into the Florida forecast a little bit. There have been a ton of great questions in here, so please keep them coming. But on the other side of the break, we are going to look long range. There is a disconnect between some of the AI ensembles, the artificial intelligence ensembles, and the actual ensembles that we would use that have the pure math and physics in them. There's a disconnect. One of them wants to kind of let loose on the season and blow the top off like last year. The others, not so much. We're going to take a look at that and dissect on what one we think is going to happen coming up in just about 3 minutes. Thanks, guys. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's Thursday night. We're almost to the weekend. Look, I really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We have a nice little community that we have built here, so I really love catching up with you guys and hanging out with you on a nightly basis, Monday through Friday, every night at 9:30 to shoot the breeze about the weather. Okay, so I promised some ensembles. Melissa, I don't think it's all that high, although there will be a couple of downpours just like today trying to sneak on shore. That's it. Again, just going to have to dodge some light stuff like what you saw earlier today. We were tracking that downpour on the news that kind of worked through New Smyrna Beach. As well. Okay, let me get to the ensembles. And I first want to show the European ensembles. Okay, now remember, ensembles, I'm just hitting everything tonight. Ensembles, we put different initial conditions into the model. I don't, the NOAA scientists do. And we get a range rather than just one point. That's why it's always better to look at the ensembles, because if you have a grouping of members in one spot, it gives you a little more confidence that a solution is going to happen even far out. So all of these L's that we see right here, that's Gabrielle, okay? And that's going to go up and out quickly. The two trailing waves, one of them, the Hurricane Center already dropped development chances. And then there's another one right there. And it is up and out. Okay. So there's that. The European ensemble has now trying to bite down here. Okay. So it has joined the party with the Western Caribbean. We do not want to see that, because now that's a physics-based model trying to hone in on what the European AI was talking about and what the Google AI was talking about. This is, by the way, all the way out to the end of the run. This is through September 28th. Okay, so September 28th, that is what, 10 days from now? There could be a highlight in the Western Caribbean. This matches up with the MJO passage. It's that convective thing that goes across the Atlantic Ocean. Whoops, wrong button. And it helps to enhance or suppress activity. It's moving through the Atlantic Basin at about that time, and that's whenever we're thinking that we could have an uptick in tropical action, especially in the Southern Gulf, Bay of Campeche, Western Caribbean. So that is the European AI. This is going to be the Google DeepMind, okay? And it's weird because it sniffs out something else that kind of sneaks along the main development region. So the Google DeepMind AI says we need to be paying attention about that same time on the 28th, but it also has a sneaky wave getting up underneath the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas and then getting close to the United States in that range, okay? So we wouldn't want to see that, obviously. Oh, Jody, I'm seeing your questions. If you stay on, I can speak to that, but I can't do it right now. In about 5 minutes, I can speak to that. And then watch what happens, though, a little bit later on. The Google DeepMind AI model really, whoops, I don't know what I'm doing. Grab the wrong thing. Is really honing in on development. I want to caution, though, the AI models, okay, the AI ensembles. So what the AI models are, or the ensembles are using, there's a lot of climatology in there. So what we would expect at the end of September and early October is something to develop in that area. So it has a lot of hurricane seasons built into its memory banks, that, okay, we have these conditions. In those conditions, in years past, we have gotten storms to develop. So that's one of the things that the Google AI is using. It's an analog checker. It's taking what the conditions are now based upon observations around the world. It goes in its memory banks, and then it's like, okay, what seasons did we have similar conditions? Okay, we had a storm here. We might have one here we might have one coming up. So that's going to be the deal with the AI models or the AI ensembles and AI models. It's kind of like a big, quick analog checker upper. Um, and then this is the European AI, the Euro AI. There's going to be like a lot of L's here. You're going to not even going to know what to do with it. But the Euro AI also picks up on that sneaky wave coming towards the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. That's going to be interesting. That might be one of those naked swirls that are out there now. And prior to the season, that's what we kind of expected is the main development region being very hostile for the storms. And then we might have something to sneak up on the states or the islands because it's not good out there. I mean, that's a good thing it's not good out there, but that's one of the reasons why. Um, and then you see again that secondary area, and that's what all these L's are, the different members of the ensemble picking it up. So, long story short, and I always like to show my work here. I want to show you exactly what I'm looking at and give you the tools to kind of look at them yourself as well to kind of do all of this stuff because we're in this together. We're in this together. We're tracking things together and everything like that. So that's why I always like to go through the methodology and all that stuff. Matt, do you mean he's asking, and it's a good question, what do you need for something like that to form a tropical storm? Are you talking about in this general area, or are you just talking about what are the ingredients you need to form a tropical storm or a tropical system? Post that in the comments for me and do that clarification, and I will do my best to get you an answer. Paul, I'll answer your question at the end, right after this short break in our question and answer section. Thank you guys for being here. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we have about 4 minutes left for the Q&A. Okay, Matt, so he says, I mentioned about the naked swirl. What do those lows need to form a tropical system in that area? So what happened was last night, to give the example of why Gabrielle became a naked swirl, it got ripped apart by shear. It did have some thunderstorms trying to fire around it, but then the satellite image, let me see if I can go back and show you the loop of the satellite image from the afternoon. All of this mess here is being kind of blown off by wind shear. So one of the things that has been plaguing this hurricane season has been there's been a decent amount of wind shear. The other thing has been stability. So while the thunderstorms try to get going, they don't last long because the Atlantic is just so stable. A lot of high pressure out there, and it's hard for get storms to going. So one of the things that they're going to need is the wind shear to back off. And I think that's why we're seeing Gabby fire off some thunderstorms tonight. Gabrielle, sorry, I keep on saying Gabby. It's like we're friends or something. But Gabrielle is right here in that pink highlight. It was back here yesterday, and that was 30 knots of shear beating the heck out of it. So now it's kind of in the green area, and it's going to be favorable in terms of wind shear out there. So what those naked swirls will need to fire off some convection is obviously the warm water, as travel jet setter just said. We're going to need the stability to start increasing a little bit more, and it would need the wind shear to back off, and then some moisture as well in the mid-levels. There's also a lot of drier air out there. So kind of the trifecta on that, and we do have more instability closer to the coast. If you guys come back tomorrow, I'm going to make a note of this to show you the instability chart. It's one of the things I like I haven't shown it in probably 2 weeks now, but it's one of the things we've been tracking steadily on here, and that's one of the reasons why we were talking about Invest 91L, the disturbance prior to Gabrielle, that we weren't that interested in it because the Atlantic was just not conducive, and it's still not that great either, thankfully. Richard mentioned it. Wind shear is our friend for sure. And we like when these things get beat up and look ugly like that. And I love to show that on the news that they are looking ugly tonight, and no doubt about that. Okay. All right, so question 1. What is the best we can hope for on the east coast of Florida this year? And 2, has there ever been a year without hurricanes? Are you talking about a year without hurricanes in general, or a year without hurricanes in Florida? There certainly have been years with hurricanes without hurricanes in Florida. I think there was like a record long stretch just not too long ago. I want to say Matthew broke it, although it didn't make landfall. Matthew was 2016. So I think from like 2004, after that ridiculous stretch, there was a very, very big quiet period for Florida. In terms of the East Coast, I am watching this little signal that the Euro AI and the Google AI are picking up on, because it's one of the things that we identified early, prior to the season, that we'd have to watch for. We just haven't really had even anything like that to track. So this is going to be kind of our hurricane, or our assignment for the week ahead. So I'm assigning everybody homework, including myself. We're going to start to watch now if the European ensembles and the GFS ensembles, the regular ones that are physics and math based, start to pick up on any kind of development near the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, or Greater Antilles over the next couple of days and over the next week. Because if they start trending towards the AI models, then I think they're onto something, and then we might have to watch. But as long as we keep having these cold fronts coming down, that's going to help to protect the East Coast of the United States. Alrighty, guys, I am so sorry I have to run. I have the 10 o'clock news to get ready for. The Eastern Caribbean right now, I don't think is the greatest for development, but nonetheless, if anything gets in the Western Caribbean, that's what we really have to watch for sure. And to a certain degree, Milton was that. It was a naked swirl, or not even a swirl. It was just a convection free, thunderstorm free tropical wave that came all the way over. It got into the Gulf, and then it actually teamed up with a decaying tropical depression from the Pacific and then came back to the east. So, like, that kind of went, we were watching it, and then all of a sudden it teamed up with tropical depression from the Eastern Pacific. Alrighty, guys, I'm up against my time. Have to run. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for the conversation. If you want to, we're back here tomorrow again to end the work week, 9:30. We're here every Monday through Friday at 9:30. Stick around if you're watching on YouTube or on News 6 Plus. News 6 at 10 coming up. We'll highlight that weekend Florida forecast. The conversation was so great tonight. We didn't even get to the Florida portion of the show. That happens sometimes. We get off the rails. Thank you guys. Great night tonight. Appreciate you.